Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the CoCo Blend Podcast. I am your host, Jamie Newton Knight, co-parenting coach, bio mom, blended family advocate, and your podcast bestie. And today's episode is extra special because I get to sit down with someone very special to my heart, my husband. He's not only the father of our two youngest children, but he's also a bonus dad to my two older children from a previous relationship. And today, in honor of Father's Day, we're talking about what it really means to step into the role of fatherhood with intention, love, and faith. Y'all caught that pun? Step. All right, let's get to it. So, welcome. I'm glad to have you. I get to interview you today, so that's good. So, we're gonna start off real light with something maybe fun or that you don't have to think too hard about, which is, what's your favorite thing about being a dad?
Favorite thing? Well, I guess because I get to teach children, I get to, give them knowledge and understanding and wisdom. I get to kind of see them through, uh, from a perspective that when I was a child, when I was growing up, and certain things I wish I was taught, I get to teach them, and certain because my father wasn't in my life, so, that was something that I vowed to teach kids. Once I had kids, I vowed to teach them things that I wish I had learned and wish that I was taught when I was younger.
So, what's something that you've learned about parenting or co-parenting with me?
Patience, because that I definitely didn't have. Definitely taught me that, and also having an understanding of the children's perspective. Because my understanding was kids they do what you tell them to do, and that's that. Yeah, old school. That's how I grew up. You do what I tell you to do. That's that, and not allowing the children to express themselves. So it's something he definitely taught me.
So, what about being a bonus dad? We talked about what your favorite thing was about being a dad, but what's your favorite thing about being a bonus dad?
I guess it's similar to just similar to being a dad with my own kids. I mean, just being like a teacher, and teaching them, giving instilling wisdom and understanding in the kids, and being there for them, when they're feeling down or whatever, doing things for them, making them happy, and encouraging them as they go through the trials and tribulations of that teenagers go through. Just being there for them. Because once again, I really didn't have that when I was growing up. My mom did the best she could, but she still wasn't a man, so I was missing that. So I'm glad I was able to fill that role for them.
Okay. So here's a question about discipline and co-parenting, or when a lot of times when we start to blend our families, sometimes discipline can be the thing that's very difficult or challenging in relationships. Some people don't want to discipline at all. Some people have a very standoffish view of discipline. So, was it ever hard to discipline or guide the kids that you didn't raise from birth?
No, Ajay and Damani were very, very nice kids, very good kids, and you did a great job raising them. So I didn't really have to do too much. My role was just, when from the wisdom that you instilled in them, I just take it from there. Like I'm able to, do the hands on, so to speak. So when they need things, I was able to get it for them. When they needed to go somewhere, I was able to take them there. So that type of thing, I was able to do it. So it was pretty easy. Not saying that it'll be that way for everybody's situation is going to be different, But I'm just thankful that mine wasn't hard.
So let's move to some humorous moments or like lighten the mood. What's a very funny memory that you have with one of the kids or both the kids? Yeah, what's a funny moment that you can remember?
Funny moment. I guess one of the funniest moments when we were playing what was that, charades or something
Hmm.
through the phone. Yeah, and I kept it was me and RJ versus you and Damani, and I kept messing up, and RJ was like ready to kill me. He's like, "Oh no!" And that was very funny. But we were able to come together as a family and make each other laugh and have a good time, which is something we always did, whenever we all were all together. So, but that was one of the funny moments that I remember.
Yeah, one of the funniest moments that I remember, I think, was when you first met the kids and we went out to eat and your phone played the thong song in the
Oh
restaurant.
yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, there was quite a few moments.
They were
That was more embarrassing than
they
funny to
thought
me.
that was the most hilarious thing ever. They were like, that
Yeah,
is so funny.
yeah. I guess I didn't say that because it was more embarrassing than funny.
They thought it was humorous for
Yeah,
sure.
it was cracking up.
So, what moment made you feel like, wow, this is my family now? Like, what made you pull it in? Like, and this is, remember, like we met and I had those two already. So, by the time we didn't have our kids until a few years later. So, what made you feel like, wow, this is my family?
I guess because as the years went by, I could see that the children were becoming attached to me, and they, they always showed me respect, and the respect only got greater. You know what I'm saying? Love and admiration got greater. And they began to trust and rely on me. You know what I mean? So that made me realize that they were my own. And I think that was very I was very proud of that moment.
What's something that the kids have taught you over the years? Kids in general teach us as parents lessons a lot. Like I feel like sometimes it's hard for parents to acknowledge that we learn a lot from these kids. But just in like with the older kids, like what's something that they've taught you over the years?
I would say patience. Because that's something that definitely needed to acquire more patience, understanding from the kid's perspective. And just like just being able to express how I feel about them and them being able to do the same to me and then it just like I say the trust that they you know that they started having for me when they realized that I wasn't just some guy coming in here to play around with their mother. They saw that this is a man I can actually trust. You know what I'm saying? And rely on. And I feel confident that if I'm in the jam or I need to be protected or whatever, that he's going to be there for me. So that was a good moment.
What would you say to another man or other men stepping into the role as a bonus dad? Like what would you say to that person?
So I would say you definitely have to have I would say like a well-rounded understanding, a mutual understanding with the lady, the wife, girlfriend, or whatever she may be. You have to have a lot of talks concerning what's the proper discipline for the children. It's also important for the husband or boyfriend to also express any concerns, or if he's not getting the proper respect from the children, to express that to the wife, and then get together as a family and talk about it. If the kids have any issues with you as the man, with whether it be your parenting or whether your bad habits or whatever it may be, that they should be able to express it without you getting upset about it, and then vice versa. You have issues, excuse me, issues with them. Whether it be the way they talk to you or any bad habits or whatever, and you can express it to them without hurting their feelings, and you can come to some type of understanding, and that will make it a lot easier as far as parenting goes. But it's important to have that understanding with the wife or the girlfriend. And then once you have that, then it'll be a lot easier to have that with the children. That cooperation with the children.
I'll hear that, men. All right, stepping in and stepping up. Just make sure that y'all keep the communication lines open. That's very important, especially in a blended family. What's your hope for our family in the years to come as a blended? You can talk about it as a blended family, or at this point, we've been together for so long. I just say as family. Yeah, what's your hope for our family, our entire family?
Well, I mean, just that everybody, can hope that everybody, can fulfill their dreams, their goals. That we can always come together, even though we live separate lives. That we can always come together at some point. Doesn't have to be for no particular day, but we can come together at some point and express our feelings to each other, talk about things that happen in our life and share each other's life, openly and stuff, and any troubles or issues we may have, and that we can come together and talk about it, that we could have, and that we could always remember, that spending time with each other is very important, and that like I've always been, just letting the children know that no matter how old they get, or if they need my help, I'm there. You know what I mean? And just never, just that they never be too uh, proud or anything to ask for help. No matter what it is, because that's what family is supposed to be about. And like I say, I'm the type of person where I'm pretty big on being loyal. Like I believe that if you can't be there for someone when they're down, you're pretty useless to me, in my opinion. So that's one of the things I'm big on. When somebody's down and out, they're having some type of trouble, because that's how I always, when I was growing up, I always wished that I had that. Like I said, my mom did the best she could, but I wish that I had that. Like if I'm in trouble, that I can call this person, and I guarantee he'll be there. She'll be there to have my back. And that's what I try to be to the kid.
Okay, so this question is a little bit different. If the kids could remember one thing about you as their bonus dad, what would you want it to be? Like, what's the one thing you want the kids to remember about you? But all the kids, I think, at this point, like big ones and the little ones, what would you want it to be?
I would say once again, the loyalty,
That they could depend on you.
yeah, that they can depend on me, that I have their back. I think that kind of underestimated, but like undervalued, I would say, when it comes to family. So because people can say, "Oh, I can loan you some money, I can do this or that," but your physical body, that's way more important than money. You know what I'm saying? That you'll be there if somebody's in the gym, and you'll be there right there in their face, just sending a couple of dollars here, or saying something over the phone, that if they really need your help, you be there for them physically. I think that's extremely important, and I think that that's people don't really value that kind of loyalty.
So that's the one thing you want the kids to remember about you. And then what does being a father mean to you?
Just somebody that that you can count on to have your back. Somebody that will be there as a guide, as a word of wisdom. Spiritually as well. Like a spiritual influence, friend. All of those things that we as humans value. That's what a father should be. And say, we're human, we're not perfect, we make mistakes. But one thing, you can at least do is be there physically for that person. I think that's extremely important. And it don't cost nothing to be there for your children.
That's so being present is like extremely important. Yeah, and I think that is important as a father. Not just being there emotionally, spiritually, like you said, but also physically being able to be there. These last two questions are going to be from the kids themselves, so the adult children. So this question is, growing up without a father, what did you imagine fatherhood would feel like? And how did stepping into this role reshape that vision? So, what did you imagine fatherhood would be like since you didn't grow up with your dad?
That was like a learning experience, I would say, because like I said, I didn't have my father's. I was pretty, I guess, afraid at first to have children, because I didn't think that I would have the knowledge and the wisdom to really guide children, because I didn't have that growing up. Like I say, my mom, she provided a lot of wisdom, but still, that's wisdom from a woman's perspective. You need it from a man's too. And so I felt like somebody that's taking on a job that he's not qualified for, and you don't have the experience. So you go in there, and you feel like, I know I can do this, but then in the back of your mind, you're saying to yourself, well, what if I do this? What if I do this? Don't do that. What if I can't live up to this? So those fears, I had, but because I wanted to be a dad so bad, my desire to be a father better than what I had overwhelmed all of that. So it eliminated those fears. And I said, I'm ready for whatever challenge fatherhood brings to me.
That was really good, babe. Yeah, I could see how like not like I think the analysis of you saying like it felt like stepping into a role that you wasn't qualified for or like you didn't feel like you had, it's almost like school the proper education for or whatever. Like that could be fearful and scary, but your desire was like I'm gonna be able to do it. And you did it. So this question is the last question from the kids. And they asked, when you started dating mom, what did that feel like at first to help raise someone else's children?
Well, I enjoyed it because, like I say, you know, well, first I admit I didn't know if I was able to have any children. Number one, so I said I'm not able to have my own. Help raise these children as my own, and then those would be, those would be my children, and I would teach them the things that I was taught and wasn't taught, and just be there for them. So I wasn't even thinking about uh too much thinking about having children of my own because I wasn't even sure if I was able to not, or if it would have worked out. If, you wanted more children, I didn't know how that was going to work out. So I just embraced the fact that you have children already, and I would take on the responsibility, of helping you raise them and just enjoying it.
I can say at the beginning it was like fun with you and Ajay together. We're like always doing things together all the time. Every sporting thing, every day, constantly on the go, constantly doing stuff. So I'm sure there was some especially guy fun in there.
Absolutely. And like I said, I wanted to take them, do things like, we did it anyway. I took them to the parks and took them we went, all over the place. We went to different states and we went to the amusement parks and all that type of stuff. Things that I wish I could have done more of as a child. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna, kind of put myself in their shoes when I was their age. What would I have liked someone to do for me if they were doing that same role? If my mom had remarried or anything like that, or had a boyfriend or something like that, what would I want him to do for me? So I kind of thought along those lines. The kids made it pretty easy. They didn't. They really didn't ask for much, so they made it pretty easy.
Good kids. You definitely hit the jackpot. They were good. They were really good kids and they enjoyed getting to know you. And I feel like the way that you went about trying to get to know them and making sure that they knew how, important they were to you too is why it all worked out. Because a lot of times in these situations, people come in, it's the guy, he's stepping in, and it's like, I'm here now, and the rules are going to be what I say. And there's no, like, not to say formal introduction, but it's not like a smooth transition. But with you, when you came in, it was kind of like, yes, I'm here. But you did things with the kids as a collective. So we all did things as a family, a lot of games, a lot of game nights, a lot of going places. But you also did things with them separately. So you would take Ajay out, and then the two of you would go do something. You actually it was the girls' day. You took Lena and Damania out. Like, so I think there were things that you did that you took the initiative to do that made it a little bit more seamless too for you. In addition to the fact that they were good kids. But I feel like you also helped that along with the fact that you showed them that you were interested in what they were doing and just like you said, kind of like being there for them, being loyal. So thank you very much for allowing me to interview you. No problem, no problem. So on my podcast, I always pray with my guests or I pray on my way out. So I'm going to pray with us before we go. So Father God, I just want to say thank you for bringing me this amazing man. Thank you for allowing him to come into my life and to bless me and the children, a dad, and as a bonus dad, as a husband. Life can be tough out there, not just for women, but for men too. And I think it's important that when we have dads that are doing an amazing job that we salute them to. And so I'm just taking this time to show gratitude and say thank you. I also just want to pray for men, fathers out there, that you bless them, that you continue to show them the way that they need to go, that you guide them. Like I said, it can be really tough. It's a tough world that we live in, but we need them. We need our fathers. Young people need their dads. We need our men. And so I'm praying that you place them in a position where they can stand in the power that you created for them, and that you allow them to lead their families. I just ask that you bless them, guide them, keep them, protect them. Again, got so much going on in the world. They need that protection too. Lord, I just ask that you do this all in your son's mighty name. Amen. Amen. All right, to all the fathers and father figures listening and are seen, you are seen, you're valued, you are making a difference. I just want you to know that whether you're a biological dad, whether you're a bonus dad, or both, your role is powerful. Your presence matters. So, from the CoCo Blend Podcast and Blended Black Family, happy Father's Day. Until next time, stay encouraged and keep co parenting with grace. God bless.